Hi guys, welcome to Learning Electronics Repair, and it's car booty time. It's the weekend again, yeah, and it's an Easter weekend as well, so happy Easter everyone. Just before we start, this is one of the motherboards I had last week. This is the one that was really acting intermittent, so most of the time the analyzer card was saying 0. I was then probing around the EEPROM here, the BIOS chip, to see if it was being accessed by the CPU. As one or two people said, I actually probed the wrong pins, but as soon as I did touch it, the thing started to work. Booted up to a BIOS screen and then just reset it, and then it was stuck on 0, 0 again. So for a short time it worked, and then it didn't work. So 1 or 5 subscribers mentioned that I should try resetting the chip, because I said originally this thing was rattling around inside the case. It's obviously been shaking around quite a lot, so we could try that. Now, just before I do this, and I'm always happy to do this, guys, when you suggest stuff, let's have another look. That's part of the community, yeah, part of the fun. But I would say that when a motherboard boots up, the CPU reads the first part of the BIOS code, and that code tells it then to copy all of the BIOS contents into RAM. So from then on, the contents run from RAM, even though we're on the BIOS screen. So in theory, if this chip stopped working, the machine should just run until you restart, and then it won't power up. Now, maybe that kind of happened because for some reason it did restart and then I got 0, 0. But I don't know. I'm not sure that would make it crash. I mean, why did it restart in the first place? So anyway, we're going to find out. I'll just put a CMOS battery back in. I'd actually removed it from this board. Let's power this up and let's see what it does. Okay, so we're ready to go. Standby lights on. Let's see what it does. Well, it just says 0, 0, so that's the original fault. Now let's try resetting this BIOS chip and see whether in fact that does make any difference or not. I probably have an extractor tool, but I'll just see if I can get it out. This is probably not the best way, by the way, because you put strain on the socket. Let me see if I can find the extractor. Well, typical, I'm not exactly sure where that is, so we'll go back to this. As long as you're gentle, it's not really a problem to do it this way. Okay, out it comes. Right. So the chip's out. We'll clean this with some isopropyl alcohol. We'll zoom down a bit so we can see. Okay. Looks quite clean, but let's do it. Okay, same with the chip. We'll just get a bit of ISO on it, and I'll rub it with the kitchen roll. Okay, this should clean it quite nicely. So, right, let's see if that works. It's actually not quite dry. I can see there's a little bit of ISO still in here. Now, let's try it. Okay, I'll just push it so it's kind of like flush into the socket, not all the way recessed. Yeah, that's nice and flush. What does it do? Well, power's back on. We can see the analyzer card. Okay. And it's actually booting. Stopped at D1. Maybe the RAM isn't quite seated properly. In fact, this is actually a different strip that I had previously. No, it's back to 0 again. Yeah, back to 0 again. So I can push on that. Does appear to be a problem with that. I will agree with you. Let's try it a few more times. We'll just see if we've actually got a picture anyway. Well, it's done the same thing and gone to a blank screen. So while I was trying to set the camera up, I actually did have a message on there saying insert boot device. Now it's just gone blank. Blue light's gone off on the monitor. I won't touch anything. Let's go again. Start. Back to 0. Okay. Back to 0. So there may well be a bad connection somewhere, but I don't think it's actually on this chip. I'll see if I can just raise it slightly without taking it out. Okay. Yeah, that feels quite flush. Go again. No, it's all on zeros. Again. Yeah. So there's something around here, but I can't see it being the RAM that would stop it from working. If we take the RAM out altogether. Okay. It would boot up and say no RAM. That's the normal thing. But we're on 0 again. Again. Okay, no RAM. It's not bleeping, but D0 or D1, like C1 also, depending on the motherboard, could be RAM. Let's clean these sockets, but I'll be surprised. Yeah, but why not? Let's go. Started a bit, then 0. Booting. RAM problem by the looks of it. Okay. Booting. Nope, it's dropped the signal. Nothing on the screen. Will it shut down if I hold the button in? So I'm just holding the power button in. Does it shut down? No, it doesn't shut down. That tells me something is screwed up with this. One more go. Back to D0. Try a different RAM strip. Okay. D1. And this time back to all zeros. So whatever's wrong with this, it's very temperamental. That was a nice idea, but you can see, guys, it really didn't make any difference. Yeah. Stopped on D3 this time. So I have to declare this one as just being very intermittent. It could be a problem with capacitors, but again, from my own experience, if we have a capacitor problem on these sort of boards, we can see they're bad. And these look good. Yeah. Let's take this off. It's not hot, not overheating or anything like that. Just look at all the other capacitors. So these are down by the RAM, they look good. These ones here, they all look good. Look good. Down by the AGP slot, they look good. Yeah. They look good. I mean, I will be the first one to say, because they look good doesn't necessarily mean they are all good. But I do have a stable vehicle. I measured it on the previous video and it was okay. So, I'm kind of back where I was before. There's just something intermittent on here, bad connection or something somewhere, and it's caused it to do all sorts of strange things. The memory controller is built into this chip, so we can see the tracks go from the CPU to here, then from here to the RAM. So it could well be a BGA problem, considering on the previous video also when I pushed down on this, I got it to work as well. Okay, so comments, but I did try the things you guys suggested. Okay, so here's something else to look at. This one, well, it's in a black case. It says down on here, Intel inside and Celeron D. So I don't think this is what we can call a retro machine. It came with a batch. I had quite a large batch of machines actually at the moment. Probably keep us going for a little while. So this just came with it. It has 6 USBs. It has a modem card in there, which makes you think maybe this is quite old. Onboard video. Okay, onboard LAN, onboard parallel port, but Celeron D doesn't sound extremely exciting to me. Let's have a look to see what's inside this and whether we can call this retro. Okay, well, it has these quick release screws, although they seem to be captive. Bit of a pain that. They were nice at least. Let's have a look at what's inside this, apart from obviously quite a lot of dust. Yeah. You guys go first. Oh, it's an AGP machine, so it is better. This is a Prescott 800. P4, must be a P4. Well, it says it's a Celeron D actually, so that's what it will be, I guess. It has a hard drive in this one, so it's a complete machine. So let's get this old motherboard out of here and let's see if we've got anything that's worth actually having. So we have an ASRock P4VM800. I think I've seen very similar to this one before also. DDR400, 800 megahertz front side buzz. Could be a fast P4, like a valuable one, but I keep saying this and I've only ever found one, and that was before we had the channel, yeah. And that was a 3.4 gigahertz, which I sold for over £100 online, by the way. So you never know, we might find another one. A bit of dust in, you can see, but other than dust, it's okay. Apart from there's a bit of corrosion here on the connector. Okay, the rest of them look pretty good. The capacitors look okay on this one. So these are the 16 volts. These are the 12 volt rail, and then these are the capacitors on the low voltage rail. Another one over here, but I'm not sure that's on the same rail. I don't see any more, and they look good. Okay, so the obligatory test for shorts on the 12 volts. Which is over here on this one. Okay. Yeah, these are fine. Okay. Oh, that's the one of the ground pins. That's the ground pin. Yeah, it's fine. Let's see if this one wants to work. The trusty analyzer card. Hope you guys agree. You've seen this a lot now, just how useful these things actually are. People say they're useless. I completely disagree with that. I think they're very useful. Comment. I think it's possibly, by the way, because people think that will tell you what component is faulty. It doesn't. You need to use your brain a little bit, but if you use your brain, it basically gives you some useful information, in my opinion. Lights, camera, action. Yeah. Okay, so power on. Go. Well, this one is going to boot. Yeah, I made one bleep. Let's put the monitor on. So this is, yeah, it's just VGA output. One of these days I will get around to playing with the VGA capture that I have, VGA to USB. But we can do it the old-fashioned way today again. Until I stop being so lazy, yeah, actually get on and sort that. Right, so start again. Yeah, bleep. And there we go, reboot or select proper boot device. And it doesn't crash like the other one did, yeah, the other one would crash at this point. Okay. So we have the hard drive, Western Digital 80 gig caviar drive, basically. IDE, of course. Let's put this on and then we'll see if it actually will load an operating system for us. Okay, ready to try it. Power on, start. Yeah, gonna boot. I don't hear the hard drive. No, I don't even hear it. Hard drive's not spinning. Oh, it must just be very quiet because this silent hard drive is now booting XP. I'll just get a mouse and a keyboard. Sometimes I find XP can be very temperamental at picking up a mouse and keyboard if they're not connected when you first power it up. It might eventually decide they're there, but you know, not too worried about this one. Seems to have somebody's stuff on it anyway. I'll just try boot again with the mouse and keyboard attached. Yeah, happy this time. Okay. Yeah, doesn't seem to be any passwords or anything on this thing. Okay. I'm not going to mess around with these people's stuff. They really shouldn't leave these drives in, but yeah, there we go. So that machine works. I am interested just to see what CPU we have. Well, it is a Celeron 2.66 gigahertz, so nothing of any value. But the motherboard might be worth a bit. Let's have a look. So, ASRock P4VM800. I think I've seen this one before. This model. Sometimes ASRock hold a bit of a premium on the like retro collector scene. Not sure about this one, but let's have a look. Okay, 66. That's a different one. That's one I had last week. Okay, I only see one for sale, but doesn't necessarily mean it will fetch that amount of money. The good old advanced sold listings will possibly help us here. Probably or possibly. So let's see. That's the P4VM 800 Plus, where mine is just the 800. 39, 38. Yeah, so that's one like I had last week. So there's a couple of them that have sold, and they both sold for about £40. So yeah, it's more than I paid for the machine, you know, at least twice as much. So that, I guess, is of some value. But the first one, bear in mind, was boxed. Mine, having said that, the second one wasn't boxed, but they both sold. Okay, so that's sort of what that is worth. Well, this one appears to have a bit of age then. Intel Inside Pentium 3, it says here, so that should give us a good clue of what might well be in here. This is a desktop rather than a tower case. There were never quite so many of these even back in the day. Just a couple of USBs on there. There's a graphics card of some sort in here. I'm not sure what this is. It seems to have writing on it or something. And this says babelfish.altavista.com. I remember, is that like some sort of translation thing? Babelfish. The name sounds familiar. Obviously, I believe that came from something like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy anyway. So, I guess we don't have to guess what's in here unless it's been changed. Let's have a look at this P3. Actually, the case for this one's in pretty good nick. I mean, this looks like some sort of paint or maybe brown tape that's been taken off. That's probably clean, actually. Looks in reasonable nick. Trying to figure out how to get into this, but certainly you take this off first. Yeah, there's a couple of screws at the front, actually. And then I think the whole top slides off towards me. Okay. So, yeah, this way. Right. Let's switch cameras and let's see what we've got. And we have a P3, AGP, socket PJ370, I think these things are. Yeah, that's what they are. Okay. Yeah, 370. So, looks quite clean. Graphics card's a funny shape. That is a funny shape. Strange little ATX power supply in this. I'm rather inclined to see if this thing actually works in the case. I think this could be cleaned up fairly easily and have a complete working Pentium 3 here, yeah. MS6323 version 1. I've certainly had at least in fact I do have one of these motherboards anyway here amongst my stash, and that is working. Yeah. What's this graphics card? Let's have a look. This is a Rage XL. Yeah, that one. ATI Rage XL. Funny shaped thing. Not quite sure what they were thinking of when they made them this shape, but was there a reason really for that? I suppose if you make them kind of like back to back, then it uses half, or rather, no, in actual fact, I don't think it really uses any less PCB. have them that shape. Anyway, that's what we have. The other card, Kingston. This is a LAN card, okay? It's a LAN card. So for a change, let's not dismantle this one. I'm sure we could have some fun trying to clean this, actually. Might make an interesting video. What do you guys think? Yeah? The floppy and the CD-ROM don't look too bad. I have actually got more hard drives in here, so it is complete. Right, we'll get the light bulb, we'll attach it to this and see what happens when we power it up. Oh, what I have just noticed is these capacitors are gone. Yeah. These ones are bulged. So I guess before anything we really should change those. Let's just have a quick look though, just to see if this power supply isn't going to go bang. So I'm just going to put the power on. Yeah, it flashed once and went out, so that's good. That tells me the power supply is good. Okay, I'll get these capacitors changed. Then let's try this as a complete machine. The old capacitors were 2,700 microfarads, 6.3s. I don't have these. I have 1,500, 1,800, 2,200 and 3,300. So I've put some 3,300s in. You can see them here. They fit fine in the spacing. In fact, they were like one hole on one side and two on the other, so you can fit either taller, narrower capacitors or shorter, wider ones. So they fit just great. I'm sure they will work absolutely fine. So let's put this back together and see if it works. We're ready to try this then. Power on. So I have to press the button. It's a little bit recessed without the top cover on, but I'm sure I can do it. Okay, starts. That's a RAM problem. Okay, let's try resetting the RAM. Actually, that didn't feel like it was really inserted properly. Go with that. Try again. Still has a RAM problem. So this is PC133, 128 meg. Just give it a quick clean. I'll just give this socket a clean with a brush. I mean, I might have to put some ISO in here, but we'll just quick clean. Okay. Would be nice to get this working actually. I've got plenty more RAM if this doesn't want to play. Nice, yeah. Well, as you guys know, watching this channel, it's usually just a bad connection. Insert it and just remove it. Try and insert again. Let's go. Still have this RAM problem. Oops, sorry about that. Oh no, it's going. Okay. Do we have a picture coming out of it? We certainly do. I'll just put it on the screen for you guys. There, invest. Okay, I'll get a keyboard and mouse and then let's see if we can get this thing into the operating system. Okay, so again with the keyboard and mouse this time. Starting by itself, almost certainly that's a CMOS battery causing that. Okay. Yeah, booting, see the loader screen, so Delta enter setup. Yeah, it did enter the setup. So let's just go with loading the BIOS defaults and then save and exit. Go with the optimized defaults, yeah. And then save and exit. Yep. Does it want to boot from the hard drive? Does anybody know about this brand, by the way, Invest? I see quite, well, not a lot, but I've seen a number of machines. This type of machine usually with this brand on it. Something's happening. XP. Interesting choice for a P3 with AGP, but there you go. Just saying the date and time's wrong. Unsurprising, really. Oh, very nice for Canary Islands, yeah. So let's have a look to see what processors in this one. Well, it's a 666 megahertz Pentium 3. Okay, so a quick look on eBay. There's one for sale, same motherboard. Have any of these sold lately? No. Oh yeah, one sold there for about £40 again, although postage from Hungary was quite high. That had a slightly faster processor than mine. What processors will this motherboard take, I wonder? Well, from what I can see, it doesn't appear to take the Troubleshooting processors. These are the 1 gig plus, but I do have a motherboard which I think is the same form factor as this one, which does take those processors, and I have a processor with, I think, maybe a 1.2 gigahertz or something like that, if memory serves me correctly. So I do have a motherboard that would probably fit in this case. It would take a faster processor than this one. What I'm wondering is this a good base, because the case seems pretty good, to put my Voodoo 3 in with the Pentium 3? What do you guys think? But just before we go, let's have a look at the graphics card that came with it and see if that is worth anything. So this is the ATI Rage XL. Okay. And it would appear that these are a common enough, cheap enough graphics card. So, what do you think, guys? Leave this motherboard in here, or see if I can find my Troubleshooting board with the processor. Put my Voodoo 3 in that you saw me get from the car boot a couple of 3 weeks ago. Yeah, try to clean this up. I mean, it came off easily, so we can put up a good go. I mean, there are a few little nibbles on it. It's not perfect, but you know, this is an old thing. The lid itself is well, not too bad, but to be quite honest, you could respray this. If we can get this thing off, we could just respray that, yeah? And then stick Windows 98 on and have a nice Pentium 3, Voodoo 3 retro gaming machine. 2 questions. Well, maybe even 3. 1, do you think that's a good combination? 2, are you interested to see me do it? Would you like me to do something a little bit more retro, put one of these things together a little bit, I guess, like Phil's Computer Lab, and try it out with some vintage software, yeah? And 3, are you going to come back and watch the next time we do some car booting? I do hope so. So, hope you enjoyed that from Learning Electronics Repair. Ciao for now, guys.